All right. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully, you had a fantastic weekend. All right. So, we've got 10 MLB games coming up today. We're going to talk about all of them, and I'll give you my four best bets. Let's recap Sunday. We just did half a unit because Sundays are weird. We went 2 and 3. So, Giants first five over 2.5. We ended up, they scored 5. So, they hit our other bet, which was the Giants race to 5. So, all that got hit in the 5th. Royals first 5. There were 10 solo home runs hit in that game. Royals were up in the bottom of the 5th, and then they gave up a run. I'm like, all right, we're tied, 2 outs. It's fine. We'll push. No. Gave up a 2-out home run. Orioles first 5. Royals end up winning the game, which is the even more gut-wrenching piece. Then we had Cubs money line. Great game. Good pitching between Imanaga and Peralta. Imanaga leads with cramps, and the Brewers get back-to-back hits. So it is what it is. They didn't score a single run, so that sucked. Phillies money line. They got down early. They got down early in the 5th, I believe, or the 4th. Clawed their way back, ended up tying it in the bottom of the 9th, thought they were going to win it, but went to extras and just absolutely crumbled in the top of the 10th. So, yeah, just typical Sunday things that happen on Sundays. So, let's get into this slate and get going. First game on the card, Dodgers and the Marlins. We've got Ben Kasparius going up against Sandy Alcantara. It's a bullpen day for the Dodgers. Coming off an L last night in Atlanta, I thought they were going to pull it out. They started to make a comeback, and then they just couldn't complete it. So, took the L there. Not a lengthy travel going from Atlanta to Miami, so I'm not too worried about the travel day. Miami, not too worried about them. Dodgers just literally faced Alcantara in his last start. He went 2.2 innings, gave up 7 hits, 7 earned runs, a homer, walked 5, struck out 2. If we look over his last 4 starts, he's given up 7 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 6 earned runs, 4 earned runs. So not loving Alcantara today. I think he gets absolutely beat down. Give me the Dodgers. Race to 5. That's really the value play here. I wouldn't mind taking Dodgers run line either. That's another one. Almost put that on the card. But we're just going to go race to 5, being a bullpen day. I do think they hit Alcantara hard, and they're just due for a good offensive output. It's not like they haven't been hitting the ball. Dodgers are number 1 in hitting with runners in scoring position over the last 7 days, 14 days, and 30 days. They're still the Dodgers. They're just in a little mini skid. In terms of their average versus righties, they're number 1. Over the last week, number 1 in average, hitting 357, 190 WRC plus, walking at a 13% clip, OPS of 1.043. I mean, they are still offensively getting it done. They've just lost 1 game in a row. Their last 10, they're still 7-3. On the road, they're 8-8. At home, the Marlins are 9-10. So I don't necessarily see an advantage here, even though it's a bullpen day. I still think the Dodgers get it done. And in terms of the weather, roof's going to be close, so we don't have to worry about anything there. Next game, Guardians and the Nats. Luis Ortiz going up against Jake Irvin. Ortiz 2-3 with a 4.78 ERA, going up against Jake Irvin, who's 2-1 with a 4.0 ERA. That said, Irvin at home since last season just hasn't been great. He's 3-9 with almost a 5 ERA. It's going to be 68 degrees with high humidity and mid-pressure and an 11-mile-an-hour wind just slightly blowing out towards left field. So we should see some runs in this one. I don't love the pitch splits for Ortiz, so I can't back the Guardians. I do think the Guardians win this. I do think there's runs scored. I would lean towards the over, but the official play here is going to be Cleveland team total over 4.5. They should be able to get to Irvin. If we look, he is struggling against lefties, giving up a 275 average, 367 WOBA. We know that this Cleveland team is heavily left-handed. So love the spot here for them to score some runs. Irvin giving up a hard hit percentage of almost 46%, exit velo of 90. So a good spot for Cleveland to score some runs. But like I said, Cleveland team total over. I don't trust Ortiz either, so if you want to take the over 8.5, I think that's viable as well. Next game, Padres and the Yankees. I didn't spend a ton of time in this. I have some concerns that this game won't get played. So this is one I'm going to keep watching the weather, and then I'll dig into it a little bit more if I think it'll get played. I think the Yankees minus 142 is a bit much, even with Rodon on the mound. I don't think Pivetta has a fantastic day. I would kind of lean towards the over, but it's going to be 55 degrees. It is going to be high humidity, but we also have high pressure, and you got an 11-mile-an-hour wind blowing in. But you've got two pretty good teams. The Yankees just offensively haven't really showed up in terms of scoring the runs. Average is fine. That said, Padres versus lefties haven't been great. If we look over the last 2 weeks, they're hitting 200 with a WRC plus of 50. So not really getting it done there. Not a ton of good track records here to go off of. Luis Arias is 0 for 5 off Rodon. Jose Iglesias, who should be hitting, he's kind of a lefty specialist. He is 1 for 4 off of Rodon. Manny Machado is 2 for 11. Fernando Tatis is 0 for 2. And Elias Diaz is 0 for 5. That's really all you have on that front. On the Yankees side, a little bit better, which is why I think we do see the Yankees favored that and being at home. Paul Goldschmidt's 1 for 5. Oswaldo Cabrera is 1 for 2. Aaron Judge is 5 for 14 with 2 home runs, 2 walks, and 4 Ks against Pivetta. Now, one of the plays I did look at, Aaron Judge over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at minus 135. He is over this in 9 of his last 10 games. He's over it in like 18 of his last 20. It's a ridiculous hit rate. Again, I just didn't bet it because of the weather, but something that if I do play that, that'll probably be the first play I make. And then we have Volpe's 0 for 6. So Rodon, he's been pitching well. If we look at his record against the Padres, he's done pretty okay against them. He's 2-2 with a 2.88 ERA in 4 games against them since going back to 2022. Faced him one time last year at San Diego, went 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, only struck out 2. So really hasn't struck him out a ton. There was one game he struck out 12, but the other 3 really low strikeout numbers there. And if we look at lefties versus if we look at how lefties have fared versus the Padres so far this season, they got to Haney early yesterday, like really early. They got 4 off of him like instantly and then didn't score any the rest of the game. Bailey Falter, they couldn't get to him. He went 7 innings, only gave up 1. Framber Valdez went 6, only gave up 2. Matthew Boyd, they got 2 off of Boyd, didn't get any off Imanaga. Hit up Freeland, hit up Jeffrey Springs a little bit. Imanaga, again, they didn't get to. Logan Allen, they got to, and Chris Sale. So it's a bit of a spotty mix here. I just don't know if I trust Rodon against this team. I think they've got a lot of good hitters at the top of that lineup that could definitely do some damage. So I think getting the Padres a plus 120, pretty good value, especially Yankees coming off back-to-back losses against the Rays in games they 100% should not have lost. At home, they're 11-7. Padres 8-7 on the road. Padres have won 5 straight. The under definitely looks juicy. I mean, 60% of the Padres games have gone under. 53% of the Yankees games have gone under. But 7.5 against 2 pretty potent offenses. Just don't know if I can get on board with that. All right, next game, Reds and the Braves. Going to be Brady Singer going up against A.J. Smith-Schuller. Brady Singer, 4-1, lost his last outing. Still giving up an opponent average south of 200, but he does have a 3.24 ERA. Does give up the long ball a little bit, but A.J. Smith is 1-2 with a 300 opponent average, a 4.26 ERA, expected ERA of 6.55. And this dude is a fly ball pitcher to the utmost degree. 72% are fly ball outs. Same with Singer. Singer, 65% of his outs are fly balls. Bet I have in this one is Reds team total over 3.5. It's going to be 64 degrees. We got a 7-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to left center. Mid humidity, mid pressure. So it's not a terrible day for playing baseball down there in Atlanta. Reds coming off only 1 run in the last game here against the Nats yesterday. So I like for him to bounce back against AJ. AJ giving up a 364 average to righties, 256 to lefties. I don't love this guy too much. I think this guy's going to get sent back down. He's just kind of doing some spot starts here. K rate's okay. I mean, he's pitched 19 innings. He's got 22 Ks, but he's not going for long. You know, he's here for the party for a short time. Yeah, give me the Reds team total over 3.5 as my best bet. Just can't get behind the Braves at minus 138, minus 142, somewhere in that range. Just don't trust this pitcher. Coming off a series where they played okay, but still just not ready to jump on board with them. I think the Reds win this personally, but I am a little biased towards the Reds, admittedly. All right, next game is going to be the Astros and the Brew Crew. It's going to be Ronel Blanco going up against Tobias Myers. Blanco 2-2 on the year with a 5 ERA, expected ERA of 3.47, going up against Tobias Myers, who's 0-0 with a 5 ERA. Myers has really just kind of done some spot starts, hasn't really gone for long. His last outing was against the Cubs on the 2nd. He threw an inning, scoreless inning, pretty good inning there, but against the White Sox and the Giants, not so good. 2 innings, 2 earned runs against the White Sox, 4 innings, 2 earned runs against the Giants. We go to Blanco. He's just kind of a mixed bag, and you really don't know what you're going to get from him. Last outing against the Tigers, gave up 3 earned runs in 5 innings. Start before that against the Blue Jays, really good. Went into the 7th inning, only gave up 1 earned run. Prior to that, gave up 3 and 5. So he's a bit tricky. Against the Twins, he didn't even make it out of the 2nd inning. So I do expect him to give up some runs today. I think that the Brewers have an advantage. I don't necessarily trust Tobias Myers either. I would actually just take the over 8. That would be my best bet here. Lean towards the Brewers and the over 8. Just Houston offensively, I'm still not on board with them. Milwaukee showed a little bit of offense late yesterday, and they're a good home team. All right, next game, White Sox and the Royals. I'm going with the squarest play on the board today, and that's okay. I went back and forth on this one because it is just ridiculously square. But Cole Reagan's going up against Shane Smith. Smith 1-1, giving up an opponent average of 2. Cole Reagan's 1-1, 229 opponent average. Smith pitched really, really well. But give me the Royals on the run line. White Sox were going to win most likely yesterday. Heck of a comeback. They were down 4-0, got it up to 5-4, and then the game got called due to rain. But I do think that Cole Reagans has a really nice bounce back day. So give me the Royals on the run line. I think Reagan should have a really decent day, like I said. And offensively, we've seen the Royals play pretty good. Now they are traveling from Baltimore back home, but the White Sox are traveling as well. So no disparities there. Reagan's has struggled a little bit against righties, but Shane Smith, pretty equal, right around 200 to both sides. It's going to be 68 degrees with mid-humidity, mid-pressure. We got a 4-mile-an-hour wind that's going to be blowing in just slightly. Home runs are going to be down like 28%, which is really the only thing that scares me about Reagan's. It's really kind of been his Achilles heel is the home runs. He's given up about 1.17 per 9, whereas Shane Smith's given up like 0.28. So much better there. With the home runs being down, I trust Reagan's a lot more. So give me Kansas City on the run line in this game. The next game, Pirates and the Cardinals. The Cardinals sweeping the Mets yesterday was insane. I thought for sure Mets would win game 2. Soto got robbed of a 3-run homer, or they would have won it. So that was that was ridiculously annoying. All right, so let's talk about these pitchers. Carmen Mlodzinski going up against Miles Mikolas. Carmen has a 6.58 ERA. Mikolas 4.66. Carmen's 1-3. Miles Mikolas 1-2. So not great on Carmen's side. This guy has been giving up a really high opponent average, giving up 327 to lefties, 333 to righties. Mikolas right around 300 to lefties, 224 to righties. Two pretty bad pitchers. We got 61 degrees, high humidity, mid-pressure, 5-mile-an-hour wind, slightly blowing out. It's going to be slightly blowing out to right. Yeah, I mean, do I think the Cardinals win this? Probably. Am I willing to pay this price for the Cardinals? No. Not with Miles Mikolas on the mound. I would lean towards the Pirates, actually. I think they're due for a nice little offensive output. Very similar bullpens here. In my mind, very similar pitchers. Not fantastic. We've got an over-under of 8.5. I would lean towards the over in this one. Somehow the Cardinals managed to save their bullpen in a doubleheader. Michael McGreevy went 5 innings of 1-hit baseball yesterday in Game 2, which is insane, after the Mets got 9 hits and 4 innings off Andre Palante. So, crazy day there. All right, next game is going to be the Mets and the D-backs. Should be a good game. Griffin Canning going up against Ryan Nelson. Nelson 1-0 with a 232 opponent average. Hasn't pitched a lot. It's been more kind of spot games. Last time he threw was on the 29th against the Mets at New York, where they lost that game 8-3. He went 4 innings, no hits, no earned runs, struck out 3, walked 2. He did have a blow-up game against the Cubs at Chicago where he only went 0.2 innings, but he gave up 5 hits, 5 earned runs. Not a guy I necessarily trust, man. Really can't get behind him. Griffin Canning, on the other hand, has been pitching really well. Over his last 3 starts, which is 16 innings, he has given up 14 hits, but only 2 earned runs. So he's been doing a pretty good job there. Has struck out 18 batters. So 18 batters. So his K stuff's working pretty good. I would lean towards the Mets in this spot, but man, I really just don't want to trust either team right now. But this D-backs bullpen is still very susceptible. They just played an extra innings game yesterday, had to travel back home. So give me the Mets at -108. Just the better team in my opinion. All right, Mariners and the Athletics. Bryce Miller going up against Luis Severino. Miller on the road, always a little bit concerning. This season he's 2-3 with a 3.52 ERA, going up against Luis Severino, who is 1-3 with a 3.30 ERA. Miller's definitely been getting hit by righties, giving up a 265 average to righties. Severino's kind of on the flip side of that. Lefties are hitting 260 against him. Both these guys are giving up some decent hard hit percentages here. Miller's right at 43%, and Severino is closer to 44%. So to me, it's a Seattle spot. I mean, it's such a tricky game here. In terms of like familiarity, there's nothing amazing here. I mean, in terms of Bryce Miller, Jacob Wilson's 1 for 2. Soderstrom for the Athletics is 1 for 6. JJ Bleday's 0 for 7. Shane Langoliers is 1 for 8. Brent Rooker has the most success, I guess. He's 3 for 11, but he struck out 4 times. I mean, multiple guys have struck out a ton. I mean, Soderstrom's faced him 6 times, has struck out 5 times. Langoliers faced him 8, struck out 4 times. Rooker struck out 4 times. So nothing here that gives me a ton of confidence. On the other side, kind of the same thing. I mean, Jorge Polanco is 3 for 5 with a home run off of Severino. But other than that, we have some pretty bad averages. I guess Cal Raleigh's done pretty well, 2 for 4 with a home run. So Mariners or pass for me in this spot. We've got an over-under of 9. It's going to be 63 degrees with mid-humidity. We do have low pressure as well, which is good for carry. But we have a 16-mile-an-hour wind that's blowing in slightly from left field. So runs are going to be down. I would still probably lean towards the over in this like minor league park. So Seattle or the over for me in that one. All right, let's get to the best bets, get you guys on your way. And of course, I forgot to download it. Hold on. Okay. All right, first play is going to be Dodgers race to 5, which we already talked about. I mean, they literally just scored 7 off Alcantara. There's nothing about him that impresses me. Ben Casparis has been pretty good. I think this bullpen for the Dodgers is pretty good. We've seen the Marlins struggle a little bit offensively as of late here. And then statistically, kind of, last season anyway, the first game of a series, they'd kind of get routed. So a little bit of a system play in there as well. Next play, Cleveland team total over 4.5. We're just fading Jake Irvin in this terrible bullpen. We talked about it. Irvin, 270 plus average against lefties. We got the wind blowing out slightly. I just don't want to get behind Cleveland and Luis Ortiz. I just necessarily don't trust him. Next play, it's going to be the squarest play on the board. Everybody's going to be on it, and that's okay. Royals, -1.5. White Sox are due for some serious regression. They've been playing way over their heads here. And then last play is going to be Reds team total over 3.5. This is just a fading AJ Smith-Shawver. He has been absolutely awful. Reds should be able to get to him. I actually don't mind Reds full game either. But I think Brady Singer gives up a little bit of runs too. So the over, the Reds, but we're going with team total over 3.5. So those are my 4 best bets. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video.